It's trying to load. All right, and welcome to the BrainDrive weekly dev call live stream. We do these every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern time to update on our progress with the BrainDrive core development and talk about the to-do list items for the coming week, as well as one big picture item each week. We do these every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and our mission here at BrainDrive is to make it easy to build, control, and benefit from your own AI system. I'm Dave Waring, and I handle the operations side here at BrainDrive.
And I'm David Jones, and I handle the tech side of the operations here.
Awesome. So we'll kick it off with the update from Dave on progress from last week, and then I'll kick in for the other developers that we have and what I worked on for the last week.
Okay, let's start with the things that went right. 'Cause that's a much shorter list. We'll breeze through this one. We did get a couple of PRs done, and then Beck and I working on getting the installer. He did most of the work. I was just trying to explain how the system works, where it works, why. And then we found a little cores issue, which that got nailed through with his help. I live in the same time zone. He has his server on one side, so it just allowed us to see the code in a different perspective and get that resolved as well. And
And
so,
that work allows us to not only get the chat with documents functionality that he's creating for BrainDrive owners, but
yeah.
also you'll explain
Yeah,
it better than
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
can.
That was just the normal plugin side, the chat with documents, though does have a microserver aspect of it. The microserver was an opportunity for us to extend the install process so that instead of the user having to, okay, I have to set this up, and if anybody who's done any AI, they know this. Here's your front end. Now you have to do a back end. You have to make sure you have everything installed correctly, and then cross your fingers, start it, and hope it works.
Yep.
Um, what the install process does now is, and we're using Docker at the moment for this, it will take care of installing the plugin for you, and at the very same time, it installs the backend for you as well. And then when you start up BrainDrive, it automatically starts up the backend for you of that microserver, and then when you shut it down, it shuts it down as well. So,
And so that'll allow us to basically connect anything that runs in Docker in a similar way, much easier when people build a plugin for that. And then also the plugin should be pretty lightweight in terms
yes,
of,
yeah, and now and well, and for the normal user exists in the planet, they don't have to worry about having to install it or that mentality of for me, oh, did I start that server? That comes automatically. But for somebody else, that doesn't come as automatic. So letting BrainDrive being able to handle that movement of starting it up, shutting it down, it's right there for you. When you turn on BrainDrive, it's turned on for you. You don't have to go in to do anything extra and all like that. We may eventually, of course, get into managing that a little better with the interface, but for right now, if BrainDrive is on, it's on.
got it. Okay, great. So yeah, so we felt like it was, even though that wasn't in our roadmap in terms of your time, and it took a significant amount of your time away from the main roadmap, we felt like it was worth it because number one, chat with documents is like one of the main use
Yeah.
cases that people want to use local or self-hosted AI systems for. So we want to be able to offer that functionality to BrainDrive owners. And also, this connection will set us up for success with doing other similar things that need a back-end service to go live
And to
easily.
Beck's credit though, this does more than what most aggregators do as far as just chat with documents. This gets you closer to the Claude and OpenAI's perspective where you have an isolated project. You have only these three documents in it, and that's what you want to deal with. Instead of having, here's all my documents, here's everything I've ever talked to you about, and getting lost in the foray there. You can really, it's like, hey, I want to do a project that just deals with these three articles I've read because I want to build my own content off that. You're able to quickly get that project going, throw in the content that you want to deal with, and start building.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
once, especially if you're doing company-based stuff or you want to have all your health information in one place so you can chat
Yep.
with your health information or all your personal finance information, if you've used ChatGPT or Claude, you very quickly get into projects where you can ground all the conversations within that context, and it makes it super useful and super personalized. And that's how they're going to start to create lock-in in these systems.
Yep.
So we feel it's really important to start offering this type of features and functionality so you're not locked into someone else's big tech AI system. You're locked into your own AI system, and you're not really even locked in because you can move these things between systems
And
at work.
and speaking of this, because this is like fate works in a mysterious way. There was an article that came out last week when we were dealing with all of this and such, and it was I found it kind of interesting. 81% Americans, basically, for this article, do not trust these AI companies with their data.
And why would they?
No, I agree. No, it was just an alarming
Yeah.
high number for
Yeah.
two. It's just 81%. It was like I would have expected closer to 50-50, just but that is just, that's a majority that you don't see much as
Yeah,
far
and
as
I
that.
think when social media came out, it was so new that no one really thought about it, but now people
They've
after
had
getting locked
experience with
in,
social media. Now
yep,
they're looking at this and going, "Oh my God, everything I type in, they now have."
yep,
And then this come back is backed up with two important factors. Is one we already knew with OpenAI, they have been court ordered to hold logs indefinitely right now, forever,
yep. Even if,
until
even though they said it was going to be private and
yep.
now it's not private and it can be accessed by the courts.
And Anthropic has changed their 30-day retention now to 5 years.
Yeah,
So it's like, and you're talking about the two biggest houses almost in AI. It's like there's the chances of not using them is really isolated right now. So the ability to get out from underneath that and manage what you control and what you allow somebody else to see is becoming more important than ever.
100%. All right. Anything else go right last week before we
Uh,
get into stuff that went wrong?
let's see. Up password resetting and stuff like that. I push user management, not management, but just you as a user. You have a password to being able. If you lose it for some wild reason, it happens. I went ahead and built a little script in the back end for people to utilize so they can reset their password. This is only for local owned right now,
Yeah,
because
so
it's just
so your username and password are stored on your computer, but you
yep.
still need a way to
If,
reset them, and they don't
if
come
you
to us, so we can't reset them on this end.
Exactly. So I had to make sure that anybody using this, if you forget your password for whatever reason, there's a script back there. You can run it, and it'll allow you to reset it. And I also improve the error information on the login and the registration, so that if you type something incorrectly, it'll point you in the right direction. What's wrong? What's not? What's not right? Like password strength and stuff like that. Um,
Yep.
and just better housekeeping, we'll call it.
Yeah, I actually I saw a short or video on one of the platforms where Jeff Bezos was talking about paper cuts
Yep.
and how he has at his large company he has people focused on the big stuff obviously, but they never get down the list, because
Yep.
they're focused on the big stuff, which is where they should be focused. So they actually have people that are just focused on resolving these quality of life paper cut issues. And I think as we build out the community of developers around this, that's a good place to get new developers involved in the
Yep.
project, to solve some of these quality of life issues, which gives them a win quickly and all that. So I think we can take that learning from big tech and use it to build an open and user-owned project.
Yeah, and these are the habits that being a solo developer right now, I mean we have help coming along in different areas, but the bulk of this just hits my shoulders, and it's like I get hit in muscle memory. I admit it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I know the password to type in. I know, it's like if something goes wrong, I know, blink, I look at the console really quick. Okay, that's what's wrong. But not a normal user has that. So
Yep.
I had to make sure that there were some messages in there so that when you see it, okay, your password's wrong, it's not matching, your username's wrong. This is where your email goes, those kind of things.
Yep. Okay, great. And on the challenges side.
Let's get to bounce. I've
Mhm.
probably found at least 50 ways for it to not work correctly, um, so far. However, through all that failure, it eventually got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm running out of ideas here. And so I took a step away for a moment, took a walk, and I came back and I looked at it and I was like, and I realized I had an example of it working correctly already. I just wasn't
Okay.
looking in when you drag a module onto the grid. Notice there's no bounce.
Right.
Okay, so it works perfectly in that instances. However, in the other instances, it does not. And so I started tearing apart one piece of code to figure out what was wrong, and I realized I'm just going to have to recode the inner mechanic of how that's happened because what's happening with the bounce is I have two people trying to own the same piece of data. And when it hands off, it causes the render, which is causing, okay, I have old data here, I have new data here, and they're both saying render. So you get that happens. So not
Does
going to
that
cause
mean you
any.
know what the issue is now,
Yes,
or
no,
it
yes, I know
sounds
what the
like
issue.
it?
Yeah, no, I know what the issue is now. It's not going to cause any delay in time because I'll just code the right thing now. And that's why I really needed the weekend to step away from every bad idea I had running in my head
Yeah.
over and over. So it was like Friday, I came up with the plan I wanted to work. Took the 2 days of the weekend, and just the first one was just disconnect. Then I came back and I had like 13 or 14 questions to try to answer to make sure this will do what I wanted to do. So as soon as we get off here, I have a busy little period trying to get it all hammered out and coded, and I should be happy hopefully by the end of the day.
Oh, wow. All right. Awesome. So
Yeah,
that'll
I'm not
give you a
expecting.
few
Yeah,
days.
no, this is not a big piece of code. This is just data getting from here to here and putting a little version control so that if it gets out of sync, it can tell, oh, you're old. We're not going to deal with you type things. And that the same piece of workflow owns it through the entire process.
Yep. Great. So, other progress on other projects, in addition to resolving the issue for Beck, which was the big one for last week
Yep,
on the chat with documents functionality. I think we're basically to the point now where there's one little thing you have to do to go into the IDE to get chat with documents up and running. But other than that, it's working. We know what the next steps are with that, which is to unify the chat history and the models management with the rest of the BrainDrive
yep,
platform. Right now, it uses its own chat history and kind of it's working as its own unit, and
entity.
entity, and we want it integrated in. On Matt with the Matt is working on our polishing our chat interface, and I thought I had a. There we go. This is a little grainy because I took the screenshot from a video, but you can see here on the current chat inter. You can see my screen, Dave.
Yep, yep,
On the current chat interface, we have model and we have persona and we have chat history up here. We've now moved everything but the model down here into three buttons, and we're going to put persona right here. So you
yep.
have your model that you can choose from, whatever models you have installed, including locally running models or API based models, should you choose to use those. And then the persona functionality, being able to ground your chat in a specific system prompt. So, for example, if you want the AI to act as your nutritionist, you can write a system prompt for that. That goes here under personas. Eventually, you'll be able to trade personas and share and everything as one of the things you'll be able to do as a BrainDrive owner. That'll be here. And then everything else can go behind these three buttons here. Initially, we'll see how far we get with upload documents and web search to potentially launch those as the first couple things there. And we move chat history below that and just made a few comments in that call in terms of next steps and tweaks that we want to make to polish that a little bit more. Anything else you want to share on that one, Dave?
I was going to point out something on your screen because it's a
Okay.
very important thing of demonstrating one of the decisions we made early on, and Matt is demonstrating it without realizing it. Because if you notice on the left side of the screen, you can tell he's using a version that's probably at least two PRs old because he doesn't have the side menu like the current version has. And this
Right.
is the advantage of a plugin architecture versus somebody altering, like if you had an OpenAI or even any other of those systems, because they're not built on plugins. So if you did a change and all of a sudden I push a release, I wipe out all your changes or you have to keep housekeeping up. They make a change, you incorporate their change into yours. In our case, Matt doesn't have to care. Matt's just working on his plugin. He's moving it forward as he wants to, and the core is just working. Even though Dave and I and Beck maybe, who knows, because the system doesn't care. We're on the updated version, and when he gets done, he will hand off that plugin to us. It will install smoothly on our system, and it'll just be up to date then.
That's awesome. Yeah, and the same thing is kind of true with models in terms of being when you're running locally, when you don't have to worry about the system provider, some big tech company coming in and changing the model on you and your
Yep.
workflows and agents and everything eventually breaking. It just all stays that way. So multiple advantage is here that you're starting to see with the modular architecture that Dave's developed for us. Awesome. All right. And on the model match front,
Yep.
so we're putting together, one of the big pain points for making it easy to run your own AI system is choosing the best model for different use cases. I think there's over 1 million open source models on Hugging Face now. So there's a lot of amazing stuff out there, but it's really hard to know which is the best for a specific use case. And, the leaderboards, et cetera. I think they're confusing for most people, number one, and they're not really going into very granular use cases in the real world.
Yeah.
And I think even for the state of the art models, people are sort of starting to like, well, yeah, it scored, the top on this benchmark, but when I actually use it for my day to day, it's not as good as one that scored lower.
Yeah, because they have actual data sets now aimed at I want to be at the top of this leaderboard. And so it's like you're being trained specifically for that quantitative analysis, and versus I want to summarize an email. I want to create an email reply, which is nowhere benched anywhere. You just
Yep.
hope that that statistic on math and it handles in reasoning, and it goes over into code and then creativity, and then is it going to hallucinate on you? So those are the things that doesn't even take into account. And that's the difference of what model match is perspective to do, is for to take a task, a case study, and there's 50 of the top ones sitting there just as low hanging fruit, easy to grab from and say, let's test this.
Yep.
Um,
And it's good that you mentioned email because that's
yep.
our latest video from this week is recommending the best email writing models.
It's almost like
Uh,
I watched it.
yeah. And this is our third video and,
Yep.
we're just kind of jumping in and trying to improve a little bit each time.
Yep.
I think one of the good things and the bad things about being involved in the AI space is things change so quickly that you have to go back and update things a lot, which is what we're going to want to do here. So we're not expecting this video to even still be relevant a year from now. And so instead of trying to get everything perfect off the jump, we're just shooting it and then we're putting it live on our YouTube channel and here in the forum. And then we'll come back in a month or two and reshoot everything. And also we'll have BrainDrive ready so we can run all
Yep.
this stuff in BrainDrive, which is another reason we want to do this is to get some good natural awareness for BrainDrive in these
Yep.
videos. But I think this is really starting to come together because we're not only giving the top 3 recommended model, and he's doing a good job of using different size models so you can run on different hardware and
Hmm.
use that. And then we're giving away, giving insight into our full evaluation process here on GitHub, the workflow we use, and also we're giving away the code for the
Yep.
evaluator. You can go and use the same evaluation framework that we use, put it to the test. And if you want to use the code and tweak it to create your own evaluator, it's MIT licensed and have a nice day. Go ahead and do it. And please reply and tell us what we're doing well and tell us what you think we've missed. And let's, get the community involved in helping BrainDrive owners choose the best open source model for their specific use cases.
And of course, if people have categories we're not touching right now, if they have a category like, oh my God, I want to see X just because nobody else is even covering X, so I
Right.
can't find a model. Hey, hit the list.
Yeah, and we want to be as open as we can with everything that we're doing, but that's another great thing about being involved in the open source space is
Yep,
like there's so many different use cases. It's like, if we're never going to be able to cover them all.
yep,
So we hope that the community gets involved and helps us do that. And I think, as we build this open source community, that's going to be one of the big competitive advantages over the big tech companies is we're going to be able to just accomplish a lot more with all the entire community working on, an open system instead of having to be forced to use a closed system.
yep,
All right, great. So that's model match
yep,
update on progress from last week, and I think we're in a pretty good cadence here of one video, one evaluation framework per
yep,
week. And once we're done with the evaluation framework, then we can come back and use it again and again and again and do a lot
yep,
more content and everything. So we're putting the time in now, just like we are with BrainDrive Core, to really set up a solid foundation that we can build off of. So that is
and I
that
believe
is
that's every
all.
Thursday he releases that, right?
Every
Right now?
Thursday.
Yep,
Yep. On our YouTube and on our community forums as well. And all of the background information and code and everything is on at the community at community.braindrive.ai. Okay. And then I started putting together a go-to-market launch plan. Um, and really coming up with this flywheel that I think will help us drive growth for the community. Am I still sharing?
yep. No,
No.
no, no, you're not. Nope.
Yeah. So, number one, we're trying to offer a ton of free value. We then promote that free value in existing ecosystems, and because we're not selling anything, we're just giving away tons of free value that is not only free and open source, but also is directly in line with what the open source communities and user owned AI communities and local AI communities are already talking about. So, that really lowers the friction of us, promoting our content because it's just free value for those communities. And we're not selling anything yet. So
Yeah,
then we engage in our own community. So, from this awareness, we acquire BrainDrive owners, people that are using the free open source MIT licensed BrainDrive that Dave's building, and they get support and resources, etc. Basically, you find us through a YouTube video or a Reddit forum post or that type of thing. And then that's a great piece of content. And you're like, where can I get more of this? Community.braindrive.ai. And that's where all of our resources are going to be in one place. And that's the home for our community. And then incentivizing contribution. When people hear incentivize, they normally think money, and that may be a part of this, but people contribute to open source projects and community for a wide variety of reasons: recognition, skill building, and just being a part of a movement that you really believe in. And then on top of that, we also, because we're an MIT licensed open source and modular system, you're incentivized because you can build products and services that you own and control on top of BrainDrive. And that's a lot of the contribution that we're looking for. And then we can promote eventually ecosystem products and services, whether that be paid plugins, whether that be a managed hosting service, et cetera, in an open and competitive way, in an optional way where you can really run your own AI system without buying anything. But if you want more convenience or more powerful models that you're not able to run on your own hardware, or someone's built a really extensive plugin, maybe for an industry specific use case or something like that, that's how we envision BrainDrive being monetized, not only by BrainDrive LLC, but also the wider community.
yep.
So then we just spin that flywheel. We use
Yeah.
that revenue to ship more, make it easy value, promote into existing plus BrainDrive channels, activate new BrainDrive owners, reward contributions in commerce, amplify the best ecosystem products, and reinvest. And
Yep.
around that flywheel goes. Any thoughts on that, Dave, since that's the
No,
first time?
this is what we've been. I first time I'm reading it, but we have been discussing this mechanic basically almost since day one.
Yeah. Yep. And so I just wanted to kind of get it down on
Yep.
paper. And then I'm not going to read through all of this because, we have been discussing this for a
Yeah.
long time, but it just kind of helped me organize everything in my head. And also, if people, it's not just being able to contribute or not just contributing to as a developer to the open source project, but a lot of people that are not developers also want to contribute to the user-owned AI movement. And the more public we can be about how we're trying to drive value and build community, the more likely it is that someone's going to discover that and not only be able to jump in and help us or help the user-owned AI community and BrainDrive, but do so in a manner that's completely in line, mission aligned and vision aligned, and that we can get as much power moving in the same direction as possible. So, in terms of promoting an existing ecosystems that our content and our BrainDrive core and our GitHubs and all of that, direct outreach, I think initially, Paul Graham says do things that don't scale, and really identifying there's a lot of, heavy influencers in the local and user owned AI, self hosted AI space. So just reaching out to them, letting them know what we're doing, video SEO via the BrainDrive YouTube channel, Google normal search engine optimization, but through long form forum posts, and also posting in Reddit for because Reddit ranks really well on
Yep.
Google, and then commenting where appropriate on Reddit comments, on X, on LinkedIn, and doing that through my personal profile. So that's kind of the meat of what I'm going to be working on. Anything there, Dave?
Other than I can definitely share in the posting, because from a tech side of the aspect, I mean, there's an entirely different conversation and audience
Yep.
that come from that aspect.
Yeah, and I think we can do our more, every day at 10 a.m. We just get on and go through all the comments.
Yep.
That's that way there's a dedicated time for it. And also I learn by talking to Dave and learn so I can take on more of that. And also so we can use those transcripts to train an AI to help answer that brain drive concierge.
And it should be noted, we did this same thing during OpenAI when or Open
Open
UI,
Web UI.
Open Web
Yep.
UI, and it was rather successful. So there's no
Very
reason why we
successful.
shouldn't be taking that plan that we had then every 10, do it, hammer it out, and allows us to connect not just with answering questions, but to also see what people want. And
Yep.
then because we can
Yep.
deliver that, that's the golden key right there.
100%. And then engaging in our own community. So, going out and getting involved and adding value, free value, wherever the user owned AI community is. Hopefully, bringing some of those people that are BrainDrive mission aligned back to the BrainDrive
Yep.
community at community.braindrive.ai, but also our YouTube channel and our GitHub. These are all part of the BrainDrive community. So there's the broader user owned AI community, and then we're a part of that with BrainDrive, and offering really good support to people. I think a lot of open source projects, because there's so much to do from a coding side, it's hard to support everybody, but we really want to have really good support and answering questions within the forum. And like Dave said, that helps us identify issues. That helps us decide the roadmap and make sure that we're building things that the community wants and not just stuff that Dave and I think the community wants. And then a lot of free educational resources on how to own your own AI system for the general public, for developers on how to build plugins and all that type of stuff. And then making sure that we're doing calls like this every week where we're updating on progress real time so people can see that, like, this isn't just a hobby project. We're really focused on this and we're moving this project forward every single week. And then also, this is where initially our plugin marketplace will be on the forum, where
Yep.
we'll list all the plugins that we're building, and anyone that's building a plugin that's mission aligned for BrainDrive will be able to list their plugin. And then, over time, this will be the place where people come because it's a vibrant community of
Yep.
like-minded individuals. And that's how you build strong communities in the offline world. And that's how you do it in the online world as well. So that's kind of the engage our own community point. Anything to add on that?
No, no, other than my normal commentary of an agreement.
Good. All right. And then incentivizing contribution. So
Yep.
I think the first part of this is just making it really easy for people to contribute
Yep.
through really solid documentation, not only GitHub, documentation, but also code, clean code with well annotated to make it really easy for people to, excuse me, jump in. again, building in public so people, really get a sense of what we're driving here and decide whether they want to get on the bus or not. And the
Yep.
cool thing with BrainDrive is if you want to get on our bus, great. If you want to drive your own bus, fork it, go do what you
Yep.
want with it. Have a nice day. We hope that all of that, really just builds the user-owned AI movement. And we think
And
there's,
and this is
yeah,
a pretty good. If you fork this project, it doesn't mean you're out on an island. If you have questions, we still have the community forum of BrainDrive. It's there. That's what it's there for.
yep,
It's like you could be say, hey, I'm trying to do a plugin for my business. Ask.
yep,
We'll answer as best as we can
yep.
and try to help you succeed with it.
100%. And then having an open marketplace, this is where the monetary incentive can start, but also the recognition. We can, if people are building MIT licensed plugins like we are, we can really, if someone does something great, we can really promote it within the community, shout them out, make sure they're getting recognition for that. But
Yep.
also, if people want to build plugins that they're going to monetize, building a business, being a BrainDrive entrepreneur, we call that. This is the place to do that and be incentivized through normal free market capitalism, not some big tech captured, app store that's going to take 30% of
Yeah.
your cut for basically doing nothing. And then contests and bounties, we've discussed doing that. I think we can have a point system. There's a lot of stuff that we can do to incentivize contribution here. And then promoting ecosystem products and services. This is the one place that Dave and I really haven't had a long conversation on.
Yeah.
And when we do have these conversations off of the live call, we still post them in the
Yeah.
forum, the recordings of those. Like there's not a lot of closed door stuff happening here, but we'll build this out as we go along. And also, I think again here, we want to see what the community wants and make sure that we're delivering value that's not only mission aligned, building that bridge instead of the walls that big tech puts up, but that people really want. And so when we launch things or when other people launch things, they're doing so with an existing demand base. There's
Yep.
already people that have asked about this. And then our target persona, Adam Carter, this is our BrainDrive owner, builder, and entrepreneur that wants to own their own AI systems, that wants to build and customize it, and that wants to make money offering products and services, workflows, agents, etc., and not just have all the value extracted from them by a
Mhm.
big tech company. That's our target persona. And why Adam first? Eventually, we want an owner, a builder, and a developer, even if those are separate people. If you don't know any code, you don't even want to build anything, we want that person, but we're starting with Adam first because we really need the Adam Carter persona to build out the software and the ecosystem that's going to benefit not only them, but everybody that they're building
Yeah.
for. Um, and the value proposition for him: complete ownership, no vendor lock-in, flexible marketplace, white labeling without having to fork the project,
Hmm.
multi-user support out of the box, tons of stuff here. And this is just for marketing messages, so we can make sure that we're speaking, to that marketing persona. Anything to add there, Dave?
Other than pointing out that Adam has a technical background, and because of that, he has a higher tolerance to bugs and to things going wrong. So we start with him. He'll help us iron things out, and like he covers all aspects between user, builder, entrepreneur, and he will help us create value for Katie. Because so then when Katie gets there, Adam has already done his job of, hey, I've played with doing the plugins. These work for me. This is great. He can even answer questions in the forum if he wants to.
Yep.
And Katie, this allows when Katie gets there. I think that the way I explain it in my head has always been this allows Katie to skip Builder
Yep.
because
And
Adam's
Katie
sitting there.
Carter is they want to own their own AI system to build and market their own content is the
Yep.
use case that we've described. But that's any use case for someone that is not a developer and is not
Yep.
going to get their hands dirty in building.
Exactly. So, because Katie can either A, grab existing plugins that are MIT available or within a license that she can do, if she can build her own entrepreneur project and move forward with that without ever touching Builder, or she can hire Adam and say, hey, I just need this plugin. Here's X amount of dollars. Adam goes, this is no problem. I got it. And next thing you know, Katie's an entrepreneur with something that nobody's ever seen.
Awesome. Good stuff. And then marketing channels and
Yep.
tactics, direct outreach, in terms of initially identifying 100 enthusiasts across platforms, and I'll reach out to them with a personalized message. We know there's a lot of communities that we can participate in on Reddit, responding to comments, posting our free value, and giving that away for free within those. And then newsjacking with Model Match. I think once we have 5 or 6 use cases, when a new open source model comes out, Twin 3 or whatever, we can say this is how it scored on BrainDrive. And there's going to be, because, especially because there's not going to be a lot of information out there. So people are going to be looking for, journalists are going to be
Yep.
looking to write about it. And so we can put out our score immediately and talk about how it performed across all the different use cases, eventually how it performs against previous models, and tons of video stuff to do there. YouTube tutorials, our recommendations. That's long form, in depth comment. Well, I actually put this in the wrong place, but basically, you get a video and then you do the text off
Yep.
of that. The video ranks, the text rank, and also some people like video, some people like text. So we're
Yep.
serving all the different users there. This live call, and then content repurposing and amplification, cutting out shorts from calls like this, et cetera, and putting them on the various platforms there. Google search, ranking our tutorials, documentation, community participation, social media, community listening, when people, like, having a tool when people start, are talking about this online, whether that be BrainDrive or local AI or self-hosted AI, we're joining those conversations, and then bring all that back to community.braindrive.ai
Yep.
to build our community. Thoughts on that?
Nope. Perfect. Other than I
Cool.
can see why I don't do business. I'd rather, it's like it's like when you go over this, it's like I agree, and we've talked about all this, but it's like it really hammers home why open source projects just stall. Because it's
Yeah.
like rather be coding. That should be the saying right there for any developer. It's like that's what I get. I always got paid to do, and business, no, but coding, yes. It's like that. It's like you almost need that teamwork of somebody who's like, I'd rather not be coding, because then it allows for all this stuff to come together and you get the fruit of the tree.
Yep, 100%. And I think that's why we made great co-creators of the Brain Drive community and ecosystem. And then we talked about this a little bit already, and then having some metrics around that.
Yep.
So felt pretty good about that. I was feeling a little all over the place in terms of where to start and
Yep.
everything. And now, I feel really good about that. And, this is my wheelhouse. So looking forward to continuing to do more off of what we've already done related to that. All right. So unless there's anything else on that one, I think to-do list for this week.
To do it, it's bounce. I'm hoping to have that in a much more stable form end of the day tomorrow. And once I hit there, I will be very happy, because that's the big issue. I already have a lot of the little stuff. For little stuff, I have cleaning up the plugin directory. I have powered by. I haven't taken a look, but we have 6 issues there. I know probably some are from you and from like that. So I want to make sure I didn't miss any, like if it need little stuff that needs to be handled. Let's see, Hank will be up and running, and I want to run a test to see if I can experience your issue. That's the one I'm looking to, just if I can get that to duplicate in somehow, then I can track it better. And that's all I'm waiting for, is to really be able to duplicate it, because we sat through on yours. I just can't get it. Even the logs don't show anything. So my hope right now, when I do bounce, I'm
It
just
fixes
hoping,
this.
yeah,
Yeah.
because well, it's dealing with the same code, so it's not like a long shot here. It's just
Right.
simply something in your two systems gets lost for some wild reason. But that's kind of what Bounce is doing, in the fact of there's no ownership of that data, so it kind of just does weird things and stuff like that. That's why I'm not. I want to wait till I get done with this, then we'll readdress and take a look at what you have going on.
Great.
Um,
Sounds awesome. I want to start participating in some of these communities, just commenting and everything.
yep.
So I'm not just popping up and
Yep.
talking, about Brain Drive. So that'll be my main thing for the week. And then chat with documents with Matt. Uh,
Nope,
I
that's
think
Beck.
I'm sorry, Beck. Yep. Getting that hopefully issue worked out
Yep.
that we're having that Dave talked about with it just resizing correctly, etc. If not, I think we just get him to, you want to actually, that's a good, we're having an issue where it's not resizing, which we think may be related to this bounce just on my computers.
Yeah.
But Dave brought up that like this might be a good opportunity for Beck to like create something that doesn't have to be moved around. And anyway, I'll
Well,
let you
yeah, we'll
take
get
it
on
away.
the install process, which we've talked about deals with the lifecycle manager. I have opened all the code up. I haven't tried to shorten it down yet. I'll do that later for developers that want it quick and easy. But right now, the version is very exposed. It has all the bells and whistles that just completely open to the developer. And we already have an example of what I'm talking about in the fact of when you register a new user, it immediately pops up with AI chat. The page is there. You do not have to do anything because it's already built into the initializers. You can pull off the same thing within the lifecycle manager. After the lifecycle manager installs the plugins, you just simply add another piece of code. You don't, not from me. I don't have to do anything on this. A developer could do it. Any developer could do it, really. Um, that will grab the plugin IDs because it's installed them now and then build the page just like I do in the initializer so that when Katie installs your plugin, and that's the perfect example of this because Katie doesn't want to deal with plugin studio or page builder at all. And that's my bridge for Katie right there. If you can keep her from being there, she will be happy. So you install a plugin and you have an entire concept of a page. Why not ship it with that page? The page automatically shows up in your pages and you have chat with documents from the word go.
Oh, so you don't even have to go in and build the page. It's just the page is
I am
already built
skipping
for you.
that.
And do you so all right, so let's say he does Beck does this.
Yep.
So I go and download Beck's plugin.
Yep.
And what happens?
When you install Beck's plugin, it installs the microservice for you, starts it up for you. It installs the first page that Beck wants you to see. That you're going to be, he controls that at that point. And so it automatically shows up on your pages. And for the lack of better examples right now, we will call this Beck's page right now. And so it'll show up on your pages, Beck's page. When you click it, chat with documents pops up.
Oh, there's no doubt that's the best way to do it
That
because then you get the best of both worlds because I can still go in and change that page if I want.
you can change the page, you can make your own page, you can do whatever you want. But from the word go, when you install, you will have not
Oh, I
only
think
the
that should be the default then.
that's why I was like, this is the opportunity here. I was like, hold on,
That's
you guys.
amazing.
You're approaching this
How
problem
hard
different.
is that going to be? Can I just, how hard is that to do?
He could do it now. Okay, I did it an hour, maybe 2 hours at max. It took me to do AI chat. And that was just a matter of make it, the when I was dealing with it, I got the IDs a little crossed in my head, and I just had to fix that. It was like, but
And
otherwise,
what's the process? Because I
okay.
think other developers are going to
Yep.
be interested in
The
this as well.
process is you build the page by hand. Okay, so when you get your plugins installed as a developer, you have them installed. You go to Page Builder or yeah, Page Builder. You put the plugins how you want it on the page. You save it. Now you go back into the database, and for this, we'll go like a couple months out. I will have a button so you can just get the code. But right now, you go into the database under pages, you find the page name, there's the content field, and you just copy and paste that data out of there. That is the page layout as it sits. Now, the difference between giving it to you to somebody else is the IDs have to be changed because when you install a plugin, you'll have different IDs than when I install a plugin. And there is a way to programmatically take care of that in the lifecycle manager. So when you get to the lifecycle manager, you've installed all the plugins. The code is at the near the top. I don't remember the function off the top of my head. When you're done installing the plugins, you simply do another call to the database and get the plugin IDs that you need. And now you start doing replacements in a template format. And
Okay.
the page initializer in the core background is an example of how this works because that's what it does. It assumes first you have a, like in our case, BrainDrive chat. is installed as a plugin. So it does the query, gets the IDs, and then changes them in the template and then installs the page.
Oh, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's already, like I said,
It
when I
is
was there,
amazing already.
exactly, it's already there.
Yeah.
It's just a
And
matter
they
of,
can
hey,
look at BrainDrive chat, the AI chat, which comes default to see how you do this as well.
exactly. It's all there as an example of how this would work. The only difference is you would move it from after the install process or after the registration process. You would move it over to your lifecycle manager after the plugin is installed.
Awesome. Huge. Way bigger than I was thinking. All right. Let me just look at the notes here. So that's for Beck. Maybe we
Yep.
ask him to do that, and also to get it out of the IDE and into a settings plugin.
That's the
Hopefully
yeah,
we can go ahead.
yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah. Beck currently uses, which we all make this, when you're coding, you use the environment variables. It's pretty smooth. It's pretty easy. However, he's in a different environment than he would normally be in because now you have users to take care of. And the easiest way to take care of that is instead of using environment variables, you go ahead and funnel all that information into a settings plugin. And so that when now your plugin, instead of looking for environment variables, you have it just so it looks at the settings, grabs the correct data it needs, and it moves right along. And it doesn't matter whether you have API keys or whatever, because it's all encrypted already.
Great. Awesome. And then for Matt, we Dave and I had a call, which is posted in the forum on polishing the AI chat interface. So I think whatever he has on Thursday, we
Yep.
freeze it there, get you to look at it and decide whether we include that in the launch or stick with our
I,
existing one.
I
And
think we're no matter what, we go with what he has. The only exceptions, which as we talked about in that call, somebody sees it, web search and I believe chat with document. And for the references, he has more of a CAG versus a RAG. We might hide those two options for the moment. They are fundamentally working, but not production ready working yet. And especially like with web search and all like that. He'll need to do an installer so we can get that running out of the box with using Beck's method that he's created. So that'll be a little more communication to be done versus the potential of being ready by that point. So we'll probably just hide those two. All the things that he's cleaned up will be readily available to everybody. I'll just go through on after Thursday's call, install it myself, run through it, make sure I'm not seeing anything weird, any cleanups a little necessary. Just two sets of eyes, nothing against Matt and whatever. Um, and we'll move forward with that one.
great. And Navaneeth is working on personal finance, a personal financial advisor evaluation next.
Ooh,
So I think that'll be a cool one because that's also not only is it a popular use case for AI helping you with your finances, but it's also one that you particularly want to keep private and not
yep.
be feeding all of your financial information out there on the internet. All right, great. So we only have 10 minutes left to the
Yeah.
hour. I think we can go long today because I want to talk about for the big picture issue, trying to nail down everything that we want to do for the launch.
Oh, okay.
And or at least get as far as we can before we pass
Yep.
out.
There you
Um,
go.
so, I think the first thing is what do we want people to take from this, right?
Yep.
Because we don't have everything that we want to have. There's always going to be more to do. It's a new project, it's beta.
Yep.
I think the reason why we're launching is because we have a whole lot more
Yeah.
than a lot of projects do out of the gate with beta. And I also think that we have a really strong vision that's going to excite people and we want to start getting people involved.
Yep.
But if you had to say, like, what is our goal for this launch?
I think okay. Bex, as much as I love Bex, I do not think Bex is like a stop button there. Whatever, if he has it working, great. If he doesn't,
Before
great.
before we get to the ground
Yeah.
level in
Okay.
terms of the individual pieces,
Then
just
for
from a
us,
big picture,
then
like
we okay, from a big picture, we need the ability to build a page. because
Not,
that is,
not, no, that's
oh,
still the ground
you're still
level.
too high. See,
That
see,
before we
I'm
get
always
into
in
the,
the forest. I know
yeah,
this.
no, it's good. That's good. That's why it's a good
Yep.
partnership. Like if this launch, what does success look like?
Oh,
And we launch this on Monday, 2 weeks from now, we're on this call and
yep.
we're like, this was successful. What does
It,
that mean? What is
to
success?
me, okay, success to me, if just even in the comments, if people can start to understand the vision, that would be successful. Because I know it's not going to be production ready where you're going to stop using X, Y, and Z for your current AI providers. It's just not fathomed to even think in terms like that. But if we can get you to see the vision, the potential of what's there at this stage, that is success.
I
Because
agree.
that because if you can see what's there, I don't have to anything to worry about. You'll keep an eye on. You will every time you see BrainDrive, you'll be wondering, are they ready for me to take over this yet? And that's from just the Katie side of things. Where now from the Adam Carter side, the threshold's even less. If you're an Adam and you're a developer and you see the potential, there's no reason why you don't have it installed because you'd want the ability to, hey, let me check on this, where this is at now. It's like, can I do this? And like that. Or if you have this small proof of concept you need to do, can I do this with AI? You don't have to worry about the inferencing. You don't have to worry about logging in. You don't have to worry about the desktop. You can just code your little plugin and oh, that works. It's like, and you can grow your idea to whatever you want it to be. And I know the habit because, like me, I can't wait to get to the point where I'm not 125% absorbed in the core because I have little plug-in idea. I want to see it play tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
I know it sounds crazy, but it's like those are those little things that people are going to see that AI can do more than you ever dreamed of if you got out from one text box.
Yep.
And
Okay.
that's the vision right there of success for me.
Great. So I said to get people excited about the brain drive vision. So, uh, so that's great that we're aligned on that. Been fine if we weren't, we could talk about it. But and I think you said it for the Katie Carters of the world that are the brain drive owners, but not the builders and the
Yep,
entrepreneurs. They just want to use their own AI system. I think getting them excited if they see this at all, because we're not really going after that
yep,
persona yet. It's just like, wow, this sounds like a really cool idea,
yep,
but it's not for me right this minute,
yep.
So to get them
You'll
excited about the idea, but not even try and get them up and running on Brain Drive
yep,
because it's really not ready for that persona yet.
yep,
It is ready for the Adam Carter persona, the person that wants to own their own AI system, build on top of it, and make money eventually off of it. Not from the standpoint of they can go and do all that right this second,
yep,
but that they can see the progress that we've made, and they can see this isn't just some idea in our head. Like we
yeah,
actually have a lot of progress made on the foundation, which is a big differentiator between us and like the hobby projects that
yep,
like have something cool, but it's like something they work on the side, etc. Or if they have something that they've put a lot of time and energy into, it's almost always not MIT licensed.
yep,
There is restrictions around that. And you can sort of see like that's a slippery slope,
yep. And if they get hit by a bus, I'm sorry. I feel sorry for that. But every project like that, if the core individual who owns it, controls it, he gets hit by a bus, that project just died too.
Yep.
It may not be that moment, and you'll have people go, "Oh, we'll do this, we'll do X, Y, Z," but nobody has the passion that the hobby owner has.
Yep. Okay, so I have, how do we get people excited about this? Explaining it clearly and concisely, giving our top three
Yep,
differentiators, showing our future vision, and so people
yep,
can see like, okay, where are we trying to take this? Where's the community trying to take this? and to show our progress, right? And
Yep.
and show that we really, have our shit together, excuse the French,
Yep.
with the stuff that we have, and we're, a professional team at working on this as our full-time jobs and not hobbyists. Not that we
Yep.
have anything against
Yeah.
hobbyists.
No, I'm a
Um,
hobbyist in so many different projects. I get it. And so I'm not like, oh my God, this, but I also know hobbies. It's like, yeah, if my wife says I have to take out the trash, guess what just took priority? It's
yeah.
like, that's a hobby project right there.
Yeah. And then explain how we plan on executing against
Yeah.
that vision in the future. So, I think really most of what we have to do is really deciding on, I think number one, like what are we going to launch with? And you said, already just to kick off that
Yep.
conversation, with the chat interface, what we are going to launch with should be polished and working and really good.
Yep.
And if it's not, maybe it's a beta on the marketplace or something like that. And you said, the document upload and the web search
Yep.
is a good example of that. You also mentioned we don't have to have Beck's
Yep.
chat with documents done and polished, which I think that means we don't launch with it. We can talk about it. We can put it in our plan. We can even give people, if they want to go and download
There
it
you,
and play
yep.
with it and even help us improve it, we can give them the links, but we're not going live with that because whatever we're going live with, we want to be as polished as possible.
And it has to work. And he's done a lot of work on the install process. That's going to need me installing it a half a dozen times just to for me to feel good about it. You installing it without any help whatsoever, another threshold that needs to be crossed there, and those kind of things. Simply because he did modify the install process greatly, and the normal install process we've all installed 100 times. It works. So that's just a little maturity just to make sure it's there before we bet the farm on it. But this is a
Okay.
great opportunity for to demonstrate how this system works. And as we talked about, to show the future vision, and that is the vision of, hey, we have the core here. You've installed it. Now you want this. You just install this on your own. It's that easy. And when it works like it should, and that's the maturity we need to push forward.
Okay. Um,
And for the vision, I should add to one little thing, to almost any developer. Imagine WordPress being created for the first time, and you knew that in 20 years this was going to own 60% of the web, and you
40%.
had or 40%, whatever. Yeah, whatever. It's still high enough where you have to blink.
Yep, a
And,
lot.
and you all you had to do is focus your time on being a plugin developer for WordPress. You would have been one of the first. And out of the first people that have stuck with it, they are all very well doing. Nobody's sitting there looking for a job anymore. And that's where where we plan to be with this as well, is the fact of very driven by the community. We're not trying to take your job or what you want to do. We're focusing on the core and what we want to do. And there's plenty of room for everybody to grow along with the project.
Great. All right. So, um, here's what I have then for, well, let's see. All right. So we know we need to fix the bounce and hopefully as a part of that, fix my render
Yep.
issue, right?
Yep.
Um, we need to get the updates we discussed with Matt and
Yep.
fix any bugs in the AI chat interface. I think we should definitely have the link from the core to the community. You're going to be able to remove that if you want
Yep.
to, but like I don't want to put that in after the fact because I feel
Nope. Nope.
like
That's already on my list for this week.
great.
Yep. I call it
And
powered by.
then, I think getting the GitHub cleaned up, which I can help with some of
Yep.
this, because I think it's just there's a lot of stuff on there that we don't work on. And we want when
Yep.
people go to the GitHub as much
Yep.
as possible for this to be like, okay, these guys they have their crap together,
Yep. Yeah, and that's already on an issue as well for the cleanup plugin.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's also security, protecting the main Git branch,
Yep.
restricting merges so no one can approve
Yep.
those except you, future roadmap, removing the plugin directory, and having just a brief plugin readme that just like what is this system,
Yep.
and how does it work and how you own your deployments and everything, and you don't have to operate within a walled garden, all of that. And then on the plugins front, I think it would be cool if we could go. I don't think we should spend a lot of time if there's a lot of work to do on polishing the plugins that we've built for API connections because that developer's on pause right now. So that would have to, whatever's happening there needs to be you or one of our existing
Yeah,
developers. But if we could go live with Open Router and have
yeah.
that be good, I think that gives you, everything that you want. It
The
just
system that's going to handle all of that for me is will be up and running today. I was in the middle of installing BrainDrive on it to make sure like that. That way I can start testing plugins while I'm coding.
okay. And then what about updates happening without a reinstall? I don't know that we have to have that.
That I've worked I have a plan in my head for it. I will definitely probably not get to it before
Okay.
we do it.
So let's just move that to post
Yep.
launch. And then um I just didn't know if the people could already do this or not. Can they
Can
change the default plugins if they want, or builders change the logo, et cetera? Or is this stuff to come?
Uh, the first part, builders can change the default installs. So if they develop their own chat, their own settings and stuff like that, they could take ours out and already do that. And the powered by will handle the logo and all like that, which is not in yet.
But
And
it
that
is going
will
to be in for
yeah,
launch.
yeah, oh yes, yes, yes. That will come in two different ways. First of all, the settings will be exposed in the back end, and if I get time this week, I will do a settings plugin, much like Beck's doing for his. I'll do a settings plugin that will control all this for the developer or for whoever wants to change it. You just go ahead and put it on it, put it in.
Okay, cool. So I'll leave this on
Yep,
there, and then I need to get our existing plugins up in the marketplace, and we'll put beta on the ones that,
yep.
are beta and all of that. Any other stuff you can think of or that's on your
We
list?
have all of the examples. They will need to go in our little marketplace because they do provide the examples of the service bridges and stuff like that. I think they're pretty critical, especially since we're attacking builder type personalities.
Got it. Anything else you can think of?
No, that's my list.
Okay, and then for me, the launch go to market, which we've already talked about, and a big part of that is the launch announcement, which we're going to start with some of the smaller Reddit
Yeah,
communities to get some feedback and also just direct outreach
yeah.
around that. Okay, cool. Uh, Post launch, before we like, what do you think the most important things to do post launch are? Like to put first on the roadmap after launch.
Communication, post
What
launch communication, because people will have questions. And the faster that the response time to those questions is, I think, a stumbling block for a lot of people.
Okay,
Um,
so number one is
yep.
communication and spending time supporting the project and the questions that come in.
Because like I said, the vision, we both agreed, vision. And the only way that vision's really going to be articulated sometimes is by holding somebody's hand and going, this is where we plan to be. And versus a video or anything like that, where, hey, you've seen how many people watch my video on doing here, this is how you get around development tricks and stuff like that. And so it's like there'll be some hand holding on that to help take people across the bridge to the vision.
So doing
Um,
some more videos for FAQs on the development side.
yep. And probably the second most important thing, I'll call it, is that update. When people see a project, the most important thing they want to see, it's not dead. And the only way to resolve that is not lip service, but is in fact an update. And so it's just moving forward.
What
It's
do you mean an update? When you're talking about updates happening without reinstall or something else?
oh no, no, no. Just generally the project moves forward. If that makes sense. I call it just a general update, but at the end of the day, it's like, hey, they want to make sure that, okay, I got your vision. I know what you're thinking
Monday
about.
call, basically these calls, right?
Well, it's not these calls, but even code wise, they see something change. It's like, okay, I can do this. They see a plugin hit marketplace. They can come from many different forms in this type of project, but they got to know that that confidence. This project's not stalled. You
And I
know.
think that's commits on paper cuts type stuff
Yep.
initially, you know, and making sure that have enough time to support everybody before we're tackling huge
Yep.
stuff. Okay. All right. What else?
And then, like you said, then we back it up with because first Monday is the 7th. That means we're coming along on what the next Monday, doing a call, and hey, this is what we talked about. This is what we did this week. And us not sitting around going to the beach type thing. Like at the end of the day, that's what people. I've been dealing with users in games. It's like I know their complaints so quickly.
Okay. All right. So communication, support,
Yep.
FAQs, making sure we're regularly updating the project. Okay. So what's in terms of code, what's, what do you think the most important initial things after launch that we want to be coding on are?
I would probably the first thing would be a baby plugin of some sort. Just hey, um, because right now all of our plugins tend to be I need this now or I don't ever need this. Like the providers is a perfect example like that. If you're not using Claude, you don't have a Claude API, you'll never install it just to see type
Right.
thing. So it could be something as simple as like I said, the tic-tac-toe, something like that. So they could just install it. Okay, this is what it does. That's neat. That's part of that vision type thing. Um, the chat with documents, that would be a big thing right there. Because Beck's still pushing forward on that. If he has everything ironed out, I'm gonna no doubt we're gonna get hit if somebody installed this. Odds are every person installed it will give us at least one bug. If we can fix that and respond in an appropriate amount of time, that is an immense amount of goodwill that is provided because it shows that you're listening and it shows that you're active. And everybody loves to feel like they matter, and that's what does that. And like we
I
said,
put that number one
yeah,
because that's
exactly.
part of communication, right?
Yep.
And spending
Eh,
time supporting the project.
Yep. It's like, and as we said, there are more ways to support than monetary, or if you want to code, if you just report a bug and then somebody like myself can come along and fix it because I admit it, I do muscle memory when I'm using this app or whatever I'm targeting on is that's what I'm focused on. And so it's easy for me to not catch everything. And that's where other users, you don't have my muscle memory, you're not doing the same things I'm doing, you will find something. Just tell me. And when you tell me, then I can go, okay, I got that.
Cool. All right. And then, okay, what else?
That's a pretty busy week, even 2 weeks. If we could just get that done, hey, I'm going to call ourselves Prompt Library. I don't think we need to be
I
there.
don't think we start on any, well, you tell me if you feel differently, but my opinion is we don't start on any new plugin or project until we're polished and done.
Yep,
We're ready to come out of beta with the plugins that we already have, and the code cleanup would be the
yep,
next thing.
yep,
Like, um, refact, is it called
yep,
refactoring? What
yep.
is it?
Nope,
Refactoring.
it's refactoring. And
Like
that's
we
where
want developers when they look at this project to be like, wow, this is clean.
we talked about every system broken out in almost isolation, well documented as far as the workflow goes, functionality that exists, and then everything else stripped.
Okay.
Because I'll be the first to admit there's code in there that I don't use anymore. Yeah, I was just on rapid fire.
Yep.
And that's why there's a code cleanup coming.
Okay. And uh that's polish chat baby plug and polish chat with documents. Oh, I want to put getting model recommendations into BrainDrive.
Yep. Yeah, because there's no when you were talking about it, I was like, there's no reason that those tests are not individual plugins so that you don't have to have your own system. You don't even have to know how to code. If you're looking for the best model, and I'll use email again because it just came out of how to do email, that means you could just have that focus test. You can grab a model at your random, whatever you read, why, how your system, your hardware, and you can start testing them. And one of the things that I would love to see extended from that would be the ability that if you wish to share your data with us so we can provide it to everybody, an easy way to handle that of just, hey, you click a button, we're not stealing anything. That's you saying, hey, here's my data of
Yeah,
my
maybe it
test.
posts to the forum, for
Yep,
example.
exactly.
Okay. Um, and then I think polished documentation for our default plugins.
Yep.
Because if we have the core bulletproof,
Hmm.
we have AI chat bulletproof
Yep.
text wise. We have personas. We have upload a document, web search, put a link in, like the stuff that Matt's already working
Yep.
on. And we have the projects functionality, the chat with documents functionality that Beck's working on. Um,
We
to
are
me,
gold.
yeah, I don't think we need to get bogged down with a lot of other stuff because
Yep.
the idea will be okay, now the only limit is people's
That's what
imaginations.
I'm saying. The really the only plugins after core mechanics that even my brain is focused on is just try to get people to see their own imagination.
Yep,
Of that you just here's a food, here's a breadcrumb. I'm just going to lead you off into a path. What you do with that is up to you because that's your imagination.
right. All right, easy peasy.
Of course. I don't see anything tough on that list.
Yeah. What do you think? And it seems like code cleanup is probably going to be the biggest one on the
Yeah,
list, right?
I still we had that discussion before. That is going. I think we said a month to 2 months, and I haven't changed from that at all.
Okay.
It's just because, and if we get people involved in it, that's great. It just it'll still occupy some of my time no matter what because they will be. What do you?
Do you think Beck and Matt can help with that or no?
Yeah, no, they could because, like I said, just I do not anticipate that being 100% off my shoulders at any time because there will be Q&As. What are you doing with X? Because I already seen how Mech or how Beck handles stuff and like that, and it's easy. He, wants to ask questions. He wants to know what I was thinking at the time and like that. And then Matt is very much the other side of the spectrum. He's Matt's like me. It's like, nope, I'm not going to ask anybody a question. I'm just going to sit here and figure it out myself. So it's like, but understanding that it's like I built it. I know it better than they do. So rather than somebody arbitrarily rip something out that might be important, they ask questions. It's just
Cool. All right,
that.
great. Anything else you want to talk about today?
Nope, this should be a good week. I should
Awesome.
not because I won't be bored at all. There'll be no part of this day going, oh man, I wonder what I could work on today.
All right, awesome. So, as we talked about at the beginning of the call, our mission here at BrainDrive is to make it easy to build, control, and benefit from your own AI system. We do these calls every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, stream live on our YouTube, and they're posted on the forum. The recordings with AI-powered summaries in the afternoon once everything finishes processing. So, we'd love it if you join the live calls or comment in the community at community.braindrive.ai, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody.